disconnection affects individuals, families, and society as a whole. We bring up we bring up webinars like this to educate people, to open them to new knowledge about emotional well-being. So the community is going to be a better place and a safe place for everybody to blossom. Thank So we would hand over the mic to Mr. Prince. He will be taking us on the topic of understanding the void, where he'll also be talking about the psychology or focusing on the psychology of disconnection. So let's get our books and bios so we would hear what our speaker has for us. He has 30 minutes. So before that, let's keep our minds muted. Drop your thoughts and questions in the chat throughout the session. At the end of the session, the question answer at the end of his topic, question and answer section will come up. So this is a safe and respectful space. So let's engage with empathy. Thank you for joining. So, Mr. Prince, the floor is all yours.
Okay, I think let me put on my camera now. Wow. Hello, everybody. Welcome. And let me, first of all, thank the organizers for putting up this wonderful program. Tomorrow is Valentine, actually, which is supposed to celebrate love or meant to celebrate love. And we're having this conversation. Okay, I think what I'll be giving to talk about is understanding the void, the psychology of disconnection. Okay, and that wraps it up with how couples drift apart and how it's being normalized, and why people fear actually, or people don't want to talk about it. So first, let me start with this very simple analogy. Okay, if you have a smartphone or you went to the market to buy a smartphone, no matter how expensive that smartphone is, it requires a very tiny microchip, which is called a SIM card, for you to be able to use that phone smartly. That SIM card will enable you to browse, will enable you to make calls. In fact, it is what will complete the phone. Without the chip called SIM, no matter how expensive your phone is, it can't actually function, rather than maybe use it for cameras or use it for touch lights and what have you. But does that actually maximize the full potentials of that phone? Of course not. Okay, now let's look at us as a human being. Okay, we are different from smartphone because at birth, that SIM card I make mention of, we were given birth with it. Okay, just like the full smartphone cannot do without the SIM card. But the difference is, it is after you bought the phone, then you have to insert the SIM card. But we had the SIM card from birth, because it is that SIM card that actually help us to connect with who we are, help us to connect with God, help us to connect with our environment, help us connect with as human beings. Now, at what point did we have that disconnection from that SIM card? Okay, that is what we're going to be talking about. At what point did we have that disconnection? Because if you have the SIM card, I'm just using the very simple terms that people can relate with. Or if you were born with the SIM card, okay, at what point did we get disconnected from that SIM card? Now, let me state this. When a child is born, okay, a child have two basic needs. It's not the need of shelter, though that one is essential. It's not the need of food, though that one is essential. What first is attachment and authenticity. Attachment and authenticity. Authenticity is the SIM card that we're given from birth. Attachment is a kind of relationship that we forge with our primary caregiver as a child. A child cannot survive without the need for attachment because the child needs to be taken care of. The child needs to be bathed. The child needs to be fed. The child needs to everything the child will ever learn in this world. It depends on that attachment. Now, the difference is when that attachment is being threatened, we tend to drop our authenticity and go for that attachment. It now depends on the environment in which we grow up in and the kind of primary caregivers that we have. If a child cannot do without, now, if you notice a newborn baby, okay, a newborn baby, if you drop the newborn baby, maybe the baby is sleeping, you drop the baby. Once the baby wakes up, the only way you will know this baby is awake is they will start crying. The baby might not be hungry. It might not feel any other discomfort, rather that discomfort us and be left alone. Children hate to be left alone. The fear of being left alone, nothing threatens children than the fear of being left alone. So when the child is born, that attachment is so paramount and so important to that little baby. And from there, how his authenticity come out or tend to be, it now determines by the kind of attachment that we have from the birth. That's what we call the attachment wound, which actually later affect how we relate with ourselves, how we relate with others, how we relate with our children, how we relate with our spouse. It is then in and in that those kind of relationships are being grounded, are being formed. Now, if you were raised in a home where you have to trade your authenticity for attachment, now, this is not a conscious effort, okay? It's not a conscious effort that the child made to say, oh, I don't feel safe to be me in this environment. My voice are not important in this environment. I'm not being seen in this environment. I'm not being validated in this environment. I don't feel safe in this environment. It is not a conscious decision that the child makes. The decision is being made by the child's brain because the first primary function of your brain is to keep you safe. That is the first primary function of the brain. Because when you are hungry, your brain activates to let people know, to activate you, motivate you to cry, for people to know, oh, he's hungry, or he wants to sleep, or he's feeling discomfort, oh, heat is. This is it's a natural brain way of regulating how you feel per time in the environment. So when you have the kind of primary caregiver who were actually not emotionally attuned to you, who always critique, because children are born to express themselves. No child is born timid. No child is born with inferiority complex. No child is born disconnected from themselves. But the environment in which they grow up in determines all of these things. If you see a child that have a very healthy self-esteem, that have self-confidence, just check where the child is coming from. Two ways a child can develop all these things. Yes, sweetheart, I'm coming. Please, just give me a minute. Let me take care of my child. Sorry. A minute, please. Oh, please, sorry about that. She just woke up, so she needed my attention. Okay. So when, like I was saying, the child does not make the conscious decision about all these things I mentioned because the brain primary function is to keep the child safe. You tell the child consistently, you talk too much. Will you keep quiet? Why are you the only one here? You always talk. The child feels unconsciously, I don't feel safe here. Maybe actually there's something wrong with me. Or maybe there's a problem with me, within me. Oh, why is everybody complaining that I talk too much? It begins to dwindle this child's self-confidence. maybe you are the kind of person who always want to ask questions, who always daring, and in every move you made, you've been spanked, you've been criticized, you've been made. So the child begins to understand that my behavior is not welcome. So what happened to this child is he begins to adapt, which is called adaptation now, which later become maladaptation later in future. The child begin to adapt and begin to imbibe those behaviors that are acceptable. So what now happened? The child have traded his or her authenticity for attachment. So that is when the disconnection actually happened. So you not being yourself, the way you were created by God, the way you were made to be from childhood. So you begin to trade that authenticity for that attachment, because that attachment is very crucial for your survival. You can do with it. So you begin to put it down for you to be loved by your primary caregiver, for you to be accepted by your primary caregiver. Or you see a child who was naturally an extrovert become an introvert. A child who was naturally was an extrovert become an introvert. It now determines the environment. That is when I think that was a debate, what they call in psychology, the nature controversy, which actually determines a child's behavior. And we discovered that almost about 95% of every child's behavior were determined by their environment. So that is the point in which we lost ourselves. So when we lose ourselves because we adapted, a child always keep adapting to the mood of his parents, to there are some whole where children walk on eggshell. They I don't feel sure of the mood of the parent. So how they respond, how they relate with the spirit, let me use the word primary caregiver now. Let me not use the word parents. Okay, how they relate with the primary caregiver, and the brain begin to filter everything to fit into that environment that they are growing up in. And later in life, it becomes maladaptive because you begin to see that there is a disconnection from who you were naturally by birth than who you have groomed, the environment have groomed you to become. So the environment have helped you disconnect from your natural self and you become something else that you were actually not becoming. And most often time, all these things show up in anger, show up in resentment, show up in addiction, show up in all kinds of behavior that we begin to see as an adult. And in order, you see, the one most important thing about this disconnection is that void never leaves. No matter how we try, that void never leaves because there is an emptiness inside of you because you weren't in touch with your authentic self. So that void never leaves. We navigate every phases of our lives. Okay, we navigate every phases of our lives with that same void. Like I said, that is what gives birth to any form of addiction you see, any form of maladaptive behavior you see. It is because of that void that we are yet to understand, that we are yet to grapple with, because we don't actually understand who we are. Who we have become is what the environment have dictated for us to be. So we begin to look at issues from different perspectives. We begin to look for something that will help us because that void actually causes a lot of deep pains inside of you, inside of us, not you, inside of us, every one of us that grow up in a very dysfunctional environment. That void creates a very deep sense of pain inside of us. And we don't see it as pain because it's not a pain that you wake up in the morning, you're feeling chest pain. It's not a wake up, you're feeling headache, you're feeling, but there is a void, there is a pain inside of us because we have been disconnected from ourselves. So if you look at, okay, I think many of us are Christian here. It was when Adam disconnected from himself, that was where chaos began to happen within that environment. When Adam was created, he was created in the image of God. Okay, but something happened that disconnected Adam from God. So also something happened in our environment. This is not our making. We didn't choose our parents. We didn't decide how they should treat us. This is not our making. We weren't given a manual because as a child, you don't have any manual how to live. Like Adam was instructed, don't eat this thing. The day you will eat it, you will die. But unlike the children, we weren't given that manual. We helplessly depended on our primary caregiver to navigate, to help us make sense out of the whole of the world and the environment. But because of the lack of understanding, okay, or because them too have issues they were dealing with that they couldn't deal with properly. That's what they call intergenerational trauma. They couldn't deal with, and they didn't actually know how to attune to us emotionally, how to help us bring out our authentic self. So there is a distortion. So there is a disconnection, and that disconnection begin to create chaos. That's why people move from one relationship. Sorry, my where they just took light, so everywhere is hot. So I'm trying to clean my face. Please. Okay, so there is a disconnection. And in that disconnection, we move from relationship. We think, oh, if I get this relationship, maybe that void will be filled. Or if I get this degree, that void will be filled. If I get this job, that void will be filled. If I take this drug, that void will be filled. If I take these substances, that void will be filled. If I make enough money, that void will be filled. And funny enough, as we engage in all of these activities, that pain, that void is still there because we have not been able to actually go inward because that child that was bruised. That's why you see couples will get married. Okay, two couples get married. Wonderful personality. Oh, I love the man. The man is so wonderful. He's so sweet. The lady is so sweet. Both of them get married. And few years, few months down the marriage, that little boy, okay, who was never validated, who was never seen, okay, who was never attuned to emotionally, begin to show up with all kinds of maladaptive behavior. So somebody will just wake up. I can't imagine, but this is not the child that I married. The child I married was so sweet. Yes, you married the adult child. The little child who was wounded is the one showing up. It's the person you are seeing right now that you are dealing with, that you have to wake up and deal with. Oh, this is not the girl that I married. The girl I married was so sweet. Yes, the girl you married was so sweet. That is the personality. He invented being an adult. But that little girl who was wounded, who was never seen, we always showed up because that little child wants validation. That little child wants emotional attunement. That little child wants to be seen. But because we don't understand where we are coming from, what actually happened to us in childhood, then it becomes our problem. Okay, it becomes our problem. So we are on each other's throats. We are always fighting. We are always quarreling because I think you don't understand me. If you have understand me, oh, jeez. Okay. Okay, let me quickly run it down. Okay, so then now the drift. Let me quickly talk about the drift. Where actually does the purpose actually have this drift that they would not want to talk about? First, like I said, from the childhood wound. Two, you see, when couples get married, okay, everything is sweet, everything is going on well. That's what they call the honeymoon phase. Okay, and maybe something comes up, maybe a child bumps in, we now have a child. Now that child begin to look at something that we want to use to numb that pain. We poured our love into that child from both sides. Then now what happened? We are neglecting ourselves. We are neglecting to connect with ourselves. The kind of conversation, the kind of connection we used to have, it begin to drift. Or maybe it's a job, it's a new job, we just got a new job, and we pour in ourselves into that new job. Okay, we are neglecting to actually uphold ourselves. We begin to drift gradually, gradually. And sometimes we begin to notice. Sometimes we don't want to have the conversation. Sometimes we have the conversation, we want our partner to understand. You know, I'm attending to this baby. It is this baby that is taking my time. What do you want me to do? At that instances, people begin to drift apart because maybe if it's the man that loves the child, giving attention to the child, or the woman that loves the child, giving too much attention to the child, the first thing the one partner begin to feel is that void that were never filled in the first place. because there is a loophole already. Now, the interaction within this current environment begin to bring that void back. You begin to feel unloved. You begin to feel unheld. You begin to feel uncared for. You begin to feel abandoned. Let me use the word abandoned, like you were abandoned as a child. Like most children who grow up in an abandoned home, they always seek validation at every instances. So when that shift comes, you begin to feel abandoned. So it begins to resonate with what you have as a child or what you didn't have as a child. You begin to see the event begin to repeat itself. Then what follows is we lash out on each other. You don't care about me. All you care about is the child. You don't give me attention. Oh, what's wrong with you? Don't you see I need to take care of this child? You see, the question actually is, why are we sounding this way? Why are we feeling this way? Is it actually because of the current? Yeah, I know Brenda will do justice to the last part of it, how you can heal from all these things. She will do all that. But the first thing you have to understand is whenever there is crisis in the home, there is a disconnection first from the childhood, not disconnection from the marriage or from the relationship that is actually causing the crisis. Okay, I don't know if my time is up. Hello?
Thank you, sir, for that insightful topic you
Okay,
just dropped. Let's
my
put
time is
some
up, right?
light on some questions that we have for you. You mentioned
Okay.
something about emotional burnout. So, how can somebody tell the difference between emotional burnout and falling out of love?
Okay. Um, Emotional burnout and falling out of love are two different things. Okay. Now, when somebody is emotionally burned out, what happens to the person is the nervous system actually interprets every form of, maybe let me use the word innocuous comments. Okay. Your nervous system interprets it as a threat. This is not a conscious decision. Okay. When your nervous system interprets every action, every inaction as a threat, your body is yelling out as it's a threat, it's a threat, a threat, a threat, a threat. Then you see, you begin to react to every issues within your relationship. And when you continually react, that is what causes emotional burnout. Okay, it causes emotional burnout because you are constantly on the state of hypervigilance. Constantly, because you are producing in your body what they call the stress responses. So your body is producing that. So you are emotionally born up because you are very hyper vigilant. You are very sensitive to what people say, how people behave, how people react, how people treated you. You read meanings to everything around you. Okay, even in your relationship, in your workplace, in your worship center, you read meanings to it because what you went through as a child begin to shape your perceptions. Your perception might not be the reality, okay? What somebody said you think you take an offense for might not be what the person's mean, but your body interpreted it. That's what they call interoception, sorry. Your body scan for threats, even where there are no threats. Okay? So when somebody is burned out emotionally, it's because the person have consistently been on what they call the stress responses, the cortisol and adrenaline being produced. So you are being burned out. That's why you will sleep. You will not sleep well. You will eat. You might not have the appetite to want to eat sometimes. You get angry. You get irritated most often time. Those are result of emotional burnout. You get angry unnecessarily. Sometimes it leads to aggression. Sometimes it just you respond to everything within your environment because you perceive everything as a threat. So when you stay on that note, on that pedestal for long, you begin to experience emotional burnout. It is not because you fell out of love, because your body keep interpreting every statement, every action as a threat. So that's why I said, until you begin to reconnect with yourself, and begin to feel relaxed with yourself and begin to integrate your body, your nervous system, which is very key. Begin to integrate, begin to retrain your nervous system to feel relaxed. Every situation will make you feel burnout.
Thank you so much, sir. I still have two more questions for you. What are
Okay.
the early signs of emotional drift that people often ignore? Please, can you throw more light on that for us? Thank you.
Okay. Let me use the word, how will I describe it? Um, it starts with something I have to do with when people are drifting apart. Um, it could start one night. You could just wake up one morning, okay, which is normal in relationship, which is normal. It's it's all not to have been a threat. You could just wake up one morning, you just look at your spouse, you don't feel anything, okay? You don't feel anything. That's euphoria, that butterflies, everything has vanished. You don't feel anything. And you think uh, you don't want to, and also you don't want to have the conversation. You don't just feel anything at all. And also, you begin to see that there is subtle resentment towards your partner, subtle resentment towards your partner. And every little thing they do irritates you. Maybe their talk, their voice begin to irritate you little by little. It might not be that loud, okay? It might not be that loud. And you might even think maybe it's a mood swing, or maybe I'm not just in the mood. Maybe it's not something I should talk about. It starts on that note little by little. You wake up one morning, you don't just feel that butterfly. You wake up one morning, just feeling some kind of subtle resentment. You wake up one morning, um, you think you made a mistake from being with this person. And that's it begin to create emotional distance. It begin to create emotional distance. The kind of conversation that both of you used to have excitedly before begin to reduce. Or the conversation begin to become like a heavy task for you to do because there is a drift. You begin to have that drift. The kind of things that you used to do before that used to be very exciting, and you begin to find yourself hesitating. You might not stop once doing it. You begin to find yourself hesitating doing them. Okay? I think instantly you should have a conversation around. You should ask yourself, why am I drifting? Why am I interpreting things this way? Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? So on that note, you begin to take because you're becoming aware how you are feeling towards your partner. That awareness actually is the first key in you trying to have that reconnection back. But most often time we don't. We just think it's a normal situation, or we begin to think maybe I made a mistake, or we are falling out of love because that butterfly is no longer there. It's not true. It is something that happened to you from childhood that is playing out right now.
Sorry, sir, my network logged me off.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So did you hear what I said, or should I repeat it again?
Just throw some more light a little bit. I didn't hear you because of the network. I was trying to log back in.
How can couples know that they are drifting apart? Okay. Is that not
Yeah.
what you asked for? Okay. Like I said, when you want to know a couple that are drifting apart, sometimes you wake up in the morning, okay? The spark is no longer there that it used to be. And this is something that happened in every marriage. It's not just particularly to one. It happens in most marriages. You discover that the spark is no longer there. The kind of conversation that you desired before, it begins to become very burdensome, very boring. There's this emotional distance, and you begin to look at your partner in a certain ways. You begin to interpret everything they do say to you. It begins to irritate you. There is this subtle anger or passive, let me use the word passive aggression towards your partner. And that is when you know you're actually drifting apart. Though there are other circumstances, you begin to understand, maybe you begin to interpret it as if, oh, we're not in love or we have grown apart. Yes. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
You begin to interpret it as, oh, we have grown apart, or maybe we are no longer in love again. Maybe I never actually loved him in the first place, or loved her in the first place. What am I here? What am I doing here? Those are the moments you begin to know that there is a shift, there is a drift. Okay? So, like all those things I mentioned, when you notice them, you know that there is a drift. But is it normal? Yes. Is it abnormal? No. In every marriage, it happens. But if you don't tackle it, at that moment, you begin to feel that distance. You begin to feel that subtle anger. You begin to feel that disconnection. You begin to feel that passive aggression. You begin to feel that subtle resentment. That is when you should pause and ask yourself a question. Because if you allow it to filter 1 month, 2 months, it begins to grow. It begins to grow. The more you allow it to filter, the louder it becomes. And then your partner begin to pick up the signals also. And they might respond positively. They might also respond negatively. It all depends on the kind of partner you have.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We'll move on to the next speaker for now. If you have any question, please drop your question in the message chat. When we're done, we're going to talk about that. So I want to introduce our second speaker, Miss Brenda Nagberry. She'll walk us through practical steps for breaking silence, small daily habits that restore intimacy, and how self-love plays a role when a partnership feels stagnant. Our topic is on rebuilding the bridge, and focus is about actionable steps to reconnect. So if you have emotional drift, if you're having any feelings of disconnection, this is where I'll tell you that you take up your book and biro, sit up so you can get the knowledge of how you can reconnect. Thank you. Mrs. Brenda, the floor is all yours. Please come and teach us and give us your insightful knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good evening, and well done for being here. We are all here to learn. In fact, you need to see my notes while the first speaker was talking. Okay, so before I start, let's do a quick, what's it called? Icebreaker. Yeah. Now, I want you all to ask yourself, or how do I put it now? Can you see my video? Can everyone hear me and see me? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, very good. Very good. Okay. So before we start, I want to ask, how many of us have ever argued with our partners about something before, something completely serious, so serious, like who put the spoon there? Or why did you press the toothpaste from the middle instead of the bottom? How many of us have done that before? It could be something silly. Why didn't you cover the pot? Or why did you drop your sachet of milk or pure water by the bin instead of in the bin? Why is the fridge door open? Why didn't you shut the bathroom door? Simple things like this. I'm sure a lot of us are guilty. Okay, I'm going to focus on a few of the examples is going to be from my personal experience. Okay, before, of course, as young women, some of us are very lucky to just meet one person and then boom, you settle down and happily ever after. While some of us, and that's why we are here, some of us have been in relationships in and out. Okay, we're going to find out how to help ourselves. So back to my story. I'm sure a lot of you can relate, right? For me, for example, one of the annoying things, okay, so I got introduced to this man, right? I was far away, so I had to, when we got introduced, I had to come here. I met him, went back to where I was again, then came back and boom, we got married. So we barely really know ourselves. So everything I've learned about this man is on the job, OJL, on the job learning. Okay. And that's what is going to happen to a lot of us young people, even in, like I said, in marriage, right? In our relationships. Okay. So when we got married, I'm one person that when you flush the toilet, I mean, once you're done doing your business, you flush the toilet. I don't want to see your wee. I don't want to see any stains around. Maybe it's OCD, I don't know. And when you're using the toothpaste, you have to make sure you press it from the bottom, not from the middle. It gives me the cringe. Okay, so imagine someone doing that. Okay, imagine someone dishing out soup stew from the pot and then left the spoon, the big dishing spoon, dripping of stew on the gas burner, or somebody wearing their shoes, outside shoes, all the way inside and everywhere is sandy. Little things like this, okay? It makes us start wondering, like, what's this one? Are you sure I can, for me, I was like, am I sure I can stay with this guy? Oh my goodness, I'm married now because the learning happened, like I said, on the job. I was already married. So I'm like, are you sure this thing will last? Hey, how am I going to do? Will need attention. So today, we are not here to judge relationships, all right? We are here to laugh, reflect, rebuild the bridge, and learn. All right? If you can still hear me, say, I can hear you. I hope I'm being heard. Everywhere seems very quiet. Can you still hear me?
Yes, Mary.
Okay, cool. Well done. All right. So my topic is rebuilding the bridge, all right? One thing is, love rarely disappears in dramatic moments, just like the examples I gave. It fades gently, slowly, while we are not looking. All right. When work becomes like the relationship becomes like
Seems like network logged Miss Brenda out. Please let's just exercise small patience. She's gonna come back, I believe that.
hear me. Was that from my end?
Yes, we can
It
hear
was
you
from my
now.
end. Okay. Sorry, the network just went off. So I had to log out. I was even trying to log in from my other phone. Just in case it happened again, I might log in from my other phone. Okay. Okay, so I was talking about, I
No
want to
problem.
quickly
Thank
share
you,
my
ma.
page. Let me quickly share my screen. Um, I'm just going to pick all of them. Okay, so you can see my screen, yeah?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. I'll try as much as I can to be swift. So yes, we're thinking, how did we get here? What happened? What went wrong? What do we do? We're thinking of a lot of things like bills and what do I have to do, and how did we, choices that we have to make. How do I become present in the relationship? Okay, instead of arguing, right? When work become too bothersome, all right? How do we help ourselves? Okay, one thing is, love is not just chemistry or romance. No, tomorrow is Valentine. Everyone is thinking of the chemistry and romance part of it. That's not what love is all about. Love is about physical presence, okay, even when emotional presence fades. Okay, so love is a series of daily choices. All right, daily choices you have to make to be noticed. You have to notice as well. Daily choices that you need to respond to. Okay, daily choices that involves you being cared for and you caring for. Daily choices for you to remain present. Okay, remain emotionally available. All right, and these are choices that we need to make to build up connections, not to weaken our connections. Okay, regardless of whatever is going on, regardless of the bills, the school runs, and what have you, I have to be intentionally present. It's not just relationship, it's not just I love you, I care, it's not just romance. Okay, love itself is you're being present, you're not being noticed, you're noticing, all right, you're responding, you're being responded to, you take care, you're being cared for, you remain emotionally available. Okay, so that takes us to the second slide. Love, understanding emotional connection. I think that I'm still on the first slide. Oh, I missed it up, didn't I? Uh-oh, sorry. Okay, now I have to start from the back. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to, because I'm not using PowerPoint slides, so it's kind of distorted. Okay, rebuilding the bridge. That's what I just talked about. You're trying to build your connection, your presence there emotionally and physically. Okay, so the next one is understanding emotional disconnection. All right, you're trying to know what it means to be disconnected when disconnection is visible, it's gradual, and it's silent. Okay, when everybody is always too busy, you're so busy that all you're thinking of is I need to get this done, I need to get this goal done. Everybody is in survival mode. Okay, people stop nurturing the relationship because they feel they are trying to survive. All right, they feel life is too hard. One partner works late, comes back home late, the other one manages the children, or the other one is doing the house chores. Both are exhausted. Nobody has energy. All right, everybody is tired. So when your partner is trying to maybe touch you on the bed, you're going, oh God, I'm tired, or babe, see, I'm exhausted. Can we move this over? All right, when you're too busy, when you're in survival mode, you need to know that disconnection is happening slowly. Okay, the second one is unspoken resentment. When small things, because you don't talk now because you're so busy, you're not talking, small things that you're not supposed to, that you could have easily overlooked, start piling up. You never help me. I've been the one washing everything today. I've been the one always taking the kids to school. I've been the one buying the gas for the car. You stop trying. You used to do this before, now you're not doing it again. I feel all alone. Is this a relationship? Sometimes you don't say them out, but you're piling it up within you. Okay, you never voice them out because you feel if you say them out, it's too drastic. Okay, but then resentment is growing quietly, and from small steps like that, from you thinking it does not even help me, I feel all alone. You see that it will start growing quietly, and then you start drifting apart. Okay, another one is poor communication patterns. All right. Every time you're talking, you're always on the defensive. You're always trying to defend yourself. One person is talking, you're interrupting. All right. You're dismissing emotions. Somebody might feel you might be talking to someone and the person is not, your partner is not looking at you. You don't even notice it. You might be talking and the person goes, or you don't even notice because you've been so distant, you've been piling up a lot of things in your heart that you've dismissed a lot of emotions that your partner is having. Okay, instead of solving things by listening, you're just piling them up. You keep saying, oh, it's like it's only me that is in this relationship, but I'm working hard. Why does it always feel like this? There is no connection again. Another thing is emotional neglect. Okay, sometimes we do it unintentionally. You're not checking yourselves emotionally. You're not asking how the other person is coping. All right, that is, you're distant, you're not there. Even though you're physically present, but your heart and mind is not there, and you're not asking questions, you're not speaking up. Okay, another one is loss of friendship. When you started the relationship, there were butterflies everywhere. But now you're in the relationship, you barely joke. It used to be our jokes that used to, really got you into or it used to be his jokes. Now the jokes don't sound funny anymore. You don't share, you stop sharing your random thoughts. It could be a silly thought, but you used to share them before. You stop spending time together because you're so busy with life. This life is not easy. I beg, I'm tired. I don't have time for romance. One thing we need to know is that friendship is the foundation of intimacy. Okay, if you really want to be intimate, those things that kept you people as friends before you became a couple or before you became partners, you need to still keep them. If you used to go out before, one thing I tell my husband is this: when we started, because he works in and out of the States, he goes off for like 3 weeks, come back for like 3 weeks, or sometimes he stays at home for 2 weeks, like that. Before the kids came along, we used to make sure every time he comes home, we will have our we time. We'll take ourselves out for dinner, like that. But as the kids came, we started dropping. We barely went anywhere. And for a couple, in the past 2-3 years now, it became so worse that I noticed that we're drifting apart. One day I have to say, you know what, Oga? It's like these things that we used to do before, we don't do them anymore. Is it that when you get back, you're so tired? Those things that used to make the relationship fun before, you need to stick to them. I know it's the timing and everything is going to be different, but you have to find ways to have that friendship that you had before. That thing that made you look forward to seeing your guy, seeing your woman. You need to make sure they are there. The foundation of the relationship, everything that was in the beginning, has to be in the relationship whilst you're going on, whilst you're married or whilst you're deeply together or partners. Okay. Another thing is the stress factors. Stress factors could be work, your health, extended family, finance, your parenting. For those of us that have parents, parenting, taking care of children, it's not easy. All right. Today I just got back home with my kids after waiting for them at school doing spelling bee till about 4 p.m. We got into the compound. As they were taking their bags off the car, my oldest son go, "Oh, mommy, I'm so sorry. I forgot my lunchbox." I nearly went cray. I just told the dad, you know what? I'm not going back to that school. I have a webinar to attend to. I need to go. And I had to go. I had to come back in to prepare while they went to get what they wanted to get. So the important thing is, love rarely collapses overnight. It weakens when daily emotional deposit stops. That's why whatever you are doing, you need to make sure that whatever you used to do before that gets you people excited, you need to keep doing it to keep the relationship going. Okay? So the third one is breaking the silence. Breaking the silence. All right, let me see if I'm still on the right. Okay, I think I'm still on the right path. breaking the silence. Reconnection begins with conversation. Everything you have to do has to do with talk, okay? Not confrontation. Whatever emotions you're feeling, take a deep breath. Sometimes you might need to take a walk, okay? But that conversation needs to be made, all right? What doesn't work in relationship is you don't care anymore. Confrontations like this, you don't care anymore. You have changed. This is not how you used to be. You're always ignoring me now. All these things that you're saying, when you say you don't care anymore, the person is going to defend himself or herself, and you know how he or she is going to do that. Is you two, you have changed. Before you know, you guys will start wanting to do basketballs, and that is not needed. Okay, so what works is emotional honesty. You have to be honest with yourself. Use ownership language. All right, the kind of words you use, the way you pass your message across. Instead of saying you don't care anymore, you say, I've been feeling a bit distant lately. It scares me. What's going on? What do we do? Honey, I think I miss you. Even though you're here, we barely talk. Do you understand? Use ownership language, like you really, because you care about this person, isn't it? You know, you want to be close to this person. You want to make sure things work. All right. So you choose the right timing. Okay, not during when the person is arguing, when emotions are flying up and down. Not when you know the person just got back from work and the person is stressed. Okay, because stress spikes emotional outbursts. So you pick calm, safe moments. Okay, you listen, you try to reset. Okay, practice eye contact. You can't be talking to someone and then you're not looking at the person. You know, your partner just got back from work and you just start attacking the person. You're not even listening to the person. I miss you. What's going on? You see the person is tired. Sometimes once you see the person's face, you can tell if something is right or wrong. Okay, so try to give eye contact. All right. If the person is talking, do not try to interrupt. All right. You're not trying to fix whatever is going on immediately. Some things will take time. Okay. Reflect on what you heard, what the person said to you. What did he say? How did he put it? Okay. For example, I hear that you feel overwhelmed and alone. I didn't realize it. I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm so sorry. Let's try and see how best we can work this. You know, when you listen to someone, it builds intimacy. Imagine if you're talking, imagine if I've been talking and nobody's listening and I've just been talking. Do you know how you're going to feel? How I'm going to feel? There's this, you feel angry, you feel neglected, you feel not worthy. Okay. So it all starts with you listening because that builds intimacy. So if you haven't been listening before, learn to start listening. Okay. Let me pull up the next slide. The things are just scattered all over the place now. I'm sorry. Okay. I think the slides are just scattered. So please, you just listen, okay? They're all scattered, okay? So yes, small daily steps that restores intimacy. I like this part. Small daily steps. Now, I'm talking to myself. I'm sure I'm talking to all of us as well. Okay. Intimacy grows in consistent micro moments, those small moments, those tiny, tiny moments. Okay. There is something I call the 10-minute rule. All right. Daily undistracted checking. Okay. 10 minutes. Sometimes it could be less. Do what works for you. All right. For example, after dinner, you're sitting together, your phone's away. Oh God, we are all so guilty. What these phones have caused. Sometimes I look at celebrities, you know, their marriages or their relationship, and I'm going, oh, sometimes their relationship could have been them just taking off their phones away when it's needed, you know, just so that they could build connection. So do your 10-minute rule, sit together, put your phones away, ask meaningful questions. Use appreciation language. People feel loved when they feel valued. You won't feel loved if you're not valid, all right? For example, thank you for helping me today. Thank you for buying me shawarma. I notice how hard you work. Oh, I appreciate you. I care. My darling, you still matter to me. Okay? Build physical connection. Touch rebuilds emotional safety. So it's not just about you people talking now, all right? You need to build physical connections. I am teaching myself as well, because sometimes we are so overwhelmed that this physical connection thing it becomes a very big job, okay? It says touch rebuilds emotional safety. When you give hugs, I'm a hugger, that one I will do, okay? Give yourselves hugs when you're leaving home, when you're leaving your partner, even if it's going to the market. Hold hands while you're walking together, okay? Sit close to yourselves while watching the TV or while in church, all right? While you're out and about, physical gestures reduces emotional distance, okay? So try to get close physically. Do emotional check-in questions. All right, when your partner gets back, or when he gets back, or when she gets back, what happened? What drained you today? You look flushed. What made you feel good today? What did you do right that made you feel good? Oh, you don't look okay. What's going on? How can I support you? Or at the beginning of the week, you can, ask your partner, can I support you this week? You might not have silver and gold. Your partner knows, he or she knows. So when you ask this question, of course, the partner is going to give you reasonable answers to your question. All right. Recreate your friendship. Do simple things together. You don't have to wait till when you have all the money in the world. Do simple things together. Watch something funny together, revisit old memories, those places I used to visit while you guys were still in a relationship. Okay? Take a short walk. Last night, for the first time in a long time, about 9 p.m., I was feeling a bit peckish, and I told my husband, let's go get something. That's the first time in my life that I've walked down the beginning from my house in the night all the way to the express road. It was very good. We got back in, the fresh, cool air, walked back in. People saw us, I'm like, madam, Oga, what are you people doing outside? Because they're not used to seeing us. So it was a good thing. And, just last night, I made up my mind, and you know what? Once in a while, we'll do that. We could even turn it to an every night thing, if security permits, right? Romance begins with friendship, not grand gestures. It's not when you buy somebody an iPhone. It's not when you give somebody a money bouquet, because a lot of us are going to receive one gift or the other, and some of us might not receive anything. And that is okay too, provided you have a partner that is present. All right. The next one is relearning your partner. Relearning your partner. People change. Okay. We change. Everybody changes. All right. We all change. So we need to relearn. Know who this person is. I'm just going to stop sharing and see if I could just pick them one after the other. I thought I could do it that way easily, but as white people will say, I'm afraid I couldn't. Okay. If I do it this way again, this is the first one, second, third, fourth, fifth. Yes. Okay. Relearning your partner. People change. Stress, like I said earlier, stress, parenting, work, age. As you're getting older, you begin to think different. And remember, you with your partner are coming from, some of us are coming from different cultural backgrounds. Some is not just cultural backgrounds, religious backgrounds, different locations. Okay. So all these things affect us. All right. All these things are going to shape who we are. They are going to reshape our emotional needs. Okay. Sometimes the person might not show you all of this at the beginning. The person might not even know that he or she had all this until you start a relationship, and then the person will think, oh, I remember my mom did this thing. This is how my mom handles this thing. And meanwhile, to you, you're not used to that thing, especially us that are Gen Z and Gen Alpha and what have you. All right. So sometimes experiences, work, age, life reshape our emotional needs. Okay. Disconnection happens when partners relate to an outdated version of each other. Very interesting. When you relate to an outdated version, the version that you are used to before. Okay. So we are going to be doing relearning exercise. All right. Ask gently, what was stressing you? What stressed you lately? Or what's that thing that is disturbing your mind today? Now tell me, my dear, what excites you these days? Because it's like, I don't really understand. What excites you these days? We used to do this before. I tried to do this. It's not working now. Or what do you feel I don't understand about you? Ask yourself these questions. How can I love you better? Oh, I like that. My husband, how can I love you better? My wife, how can I love you better? You know, my partner or my boyfriend, how can I love you better? What do you want me to do? What do I need to learn? Okay, be ready to learn. The only person who wouldn't learn or who stops learning is a deaf person. So we as human beings, we need to be ready to learn. All right, we need to have emotional shifts when needed. Okay, a partner may now need a bit of shift or reassurance. A partner might need space for some reason. Your partner might need appreciation. Your partner might need some kind of change in parenting, emotional safety. All right, you correct with love. All right, you yourself need to have an emotional shift if you want to make sure this thing works. Okay, remember, connection returns when people feel seen, when they feel heard. Okay, when they are emotionally safe. If I'm not safe with you, I'm not going to tell you anything. Once I say something small and then you start shouting or raising your voice, I'm not going to say much. I'll just be quiet. Whatever you say, I'll be zombie. And before you know, you're drifting apart. All right. So connect with your partner. Make the person feel seen. Make the person feel heard. Make the person feel safe emotionally. Okay. Consistency rebuilds love. All right. You're trying to nurture self-love within the relationship. Sometimes it will feel absent because individuals are depleted. You've been growing apart internally. All right. So you cannot give what you don't have. You have to make sure you're emotionally there, present. Okay. You have to make sure you've not lost your identity. You are not exhausted. You're not emotionally withdrawn. Okay. Signs that shows that you're emotionally depleted, okay, that you're not emotionally there, like you're missing out something, is usually when you're constantly irritated, you don't even know who you are always tired. I don't tire. You're emotionally withdrawn. All right, so you need to look out for that. All right, and try to have practices that will restore you personally as an individual now. All right, you have to look at yourself. When you need to rest, you rest intentionally. All right. If you're tired, let your partner know, I'm so tired. Please, can I take 5-minute break? Sometimes I do that even with my kids. I just tell them, sorry guys, can you give mommy a break? Mommy needs to rest. Okay, mommy. Even to my baby, she understands. Okay, but sometimes once she walks into the room and she see, mommy, are you in a meeting? Do you need a break? And she walks off. And I say, yes. And then, so this thing, see, it's all about communication. You have to rest intentionally. Otherwise, look, you hear some people falling down and dying outside. It's because of relationship, or sometimes it's not hunger or Naija or Tinubu or Buhari. No. Okay. Sometimes pursue your personal interests. Yes, is allowed. Because at the end of the day, if you're in a relationship, your personal interest is for the benefit of the relationship. Okay. So pursue your personal interest. Let the person know when you're doing that. Reconnect to the person with purpose. All right. You can't be dilly-dallying. Reconnect with purpose. Seek counseling if you need to, if it's needed. You seek counseling. Thank God a lot of us here are counselors. Seek friendship outside the relationship, healthy ones. All right, healthy ones. Thank God I have Blessing as my friend. I can call her whenever I need a bit of counseling or I need somebody to talk to. All right, because if you are overwhelmed as a mother, as a father, as a parent, as a lover, at the beginning of your week, you're going to be tired even before that day ends. Okay. So an overwhelmed person, right, that does not have a me time, you don't read, you don't do any journaling, you don't have friends, you become emotionally absent. Okay. So try to build friendship outside, reconnect, rest when you need to, so that you'll be more available in your relationship. You need to love yourself. Nobody will love you as much as you love yourself. So self-love strengthens your relationship love. Okay. So if you want your relationship to be stronger, you need to have self-love. You can't hate yourself. You can't afford not to take care of yourself and you say you are in a loving relationship. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay. When love feels distance, let me see the next one. Okay, we've done people evolve. Okay, this was the last one I said. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Okay, when love feels distance, feelings fluctuate. Yes, sometimes I might be in a happy mood. Sometimes You know, sometimes we are not just there. Okay, what's the popular word they call it now? Mood swings. It happens. All right. Sometimes your commitments fluctuate. Like it needs balancing, it needs stabilizing. It's all right. Okay. How do you now rebuild love in those kind of situations? Consistent and intentional efforts. Emotional responsibility. Be responsible for whatever emotions you're pulling out. Okay. Forgive immediately. Forgive immediately. I can't overemphasize that. All right. Show up daily. I'm rounding up now. Okay. Give me a few minutes. Show up daily. All right. Instead of asking, do I feel love? You should say, what can I do today that nurtures connection or that makes us, that will, you know, spice up this our relationship. Small intentional acts like sending text messages, okay, asking about their day. How are you doing today? Oh, I'm so grateful that I have you in my life. You know, sharing gratitude, apologizing quickly, choosing patience. Every season isn't romantic. Yes, every season cannot be romantic, but every season can be nurturing. Okay, so back to connection. Find your way back to connection. All right, let me quickly bring that slide up. That's my last slide. Find your way back to connection. Sorry about my slides looking wonky. Find your way back to connection. Relationship rarely collapse suddenly. No, like I said at the beginning, it takes gradual steps. Things that are built up, you know, little cracks. The cracks can be through silence, could be through distance, it could be through exhaustion, it could be through assumption. Okay? And the same way all those cracks happen is the same way you're going to build them. Through conversation, through attention, through presence, through kindness. All right? Start small. Have one honest conversation. All right? One moment of appreciation. Okay? Do one intentional habit, because when love feels absent, it may not be gone. It might just be absent. It is there. Okay? It might be waiting for you to come back. It's waiting for you to care. It's waiting for your courage. It's waiting for your effort. It's waiting for your emotional return. So love is not only found, it is built, it is rebuilt. Thank you very much. I hope we all heard me. The place is quiet. I'm done with my lecture or with my talk. Any questions?
Yes, we heard you.
Okay, I'm listening. Let me mute.
Our host, Abel.
Thank you so much, Ma, for that insightful message. Thank you for the both speakers. We appreciate your effort. We appreciate everything you just said. We've explored the psychological and the practical steps. So now it's time for us to hear from the participants. So if you have a question, you can kindly drop it on the message board. And also, we have some brief questions we need to relay on that was dropped on our Google document. So we'll take one question after the other, and please keep the questions brief so we can be able to round up quickly. Thank you. So start dropping your message, your questions, so we can relay on them. I also have a few questions that I want to relay. Thank you. So I have this question I would throw at Mr. Okay, I have one question I will throw at Mr. Alex. So you said about disconnecting and all of that. So I wanted to ask, for someone watching us right now who feels disconnected, what is the first step they can take
Hello, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay. I think Brenda have done a whole lot of justice to how to reconnect. But I think the first step you should take is what they call self-awareness. The issue of self-awareness have been overflogged. People take it out of context, has been overused. Now, let me say this to you. When you are consistently having that disconnection with your partner, the first thing you should ask yourself, why are this problem? Is it about me? Is it about us? Or is there something in our background that is actually affecting our current relationship? I talked about childhood experiences. Everything Brenda said is correct, but there is something that we fail to address also, which is how your body perceived a particular threat have to do with your nervous system. Trauma, first of all, shaped your nervous system before it shaped your behavior. And if your nervous system perceives everything as threat around you, you might, let's say for instance, you say, oh, if my husband come or if my wife come, we're going to have this conversation, we're going to have this conversation, we're going to have this conversation. I'm going to tell her or him whatever I feel, whatever is in my heart. And the person walks through the whole door. Your system completely shut down. You don't even know where to start from because you are trying not to be aggressive, or maybe you start, okay? Honey, can we start? I think we should talk. Talk on what? Maybe the first person's response triggered you, okay? It is not you responding, it is your nervous system that is responding. So you have to take note of all these events, account of events within your space, within your life, within your friendship, for you to begin to acknowledge, okay, the issues I'm dealing with, it has nothing to do with the current issue. It has something to do with my past. My nervous system has been shaped. Everything I respond from the point of disconnection, from the point of fear. I fear vulnerability. Okay, let me use the right word. People don't want to connect because connection have hurt them deeply in the past, particularly with their primary caregiver. So because of that, they fear vulnerability. So every of their conversation, everything they want to talk about is always end in form of aggression or silent treatment. Because that moment you cannot have a healthy conversation without being vulnerable. If you're not vulnerable, you can't connect. So these are the things you have to be aware of first for you to be able to say, oh, I want to connect. Am I being vulnerable enough for me to connect with my partner? Is my partner be vulnerable enough for him or her to connect with me? If we are not, why? Why are we not vulnerable enough? Do I feel safe to actually speak and I expect the person to understand my point that I'm talking from? If not, why? The next thing you should ask yourself, how can I handle this? Do I need to step aside and work on myself first, then before I approach my partner? That is self-awareness. Because if you're trying to approach your partner from you are not vulnerable, him or her also is not vulnerable, what you are going to have is a shouting match, is a disconnection. Some will come with a silent treatment. What we are trying to fix, it will bruise our ego. We might say things we don't want to say, and it will actually escalate instead of de-escalating the whole thing. So the first thing first is self-awareness, okay? And the second is self-regulation. Self-regulation has to do with how do you regulate your nervous system. When you find yourself in a place you are being dysregulated, maybe somebody says something, you are the first thing that comes to you is anger, okay, or you want to shut down. Slow down, take a very deep breath, okay. Deep breathing has a way of regulating your nervous system a lot. It's like you take somebody have an injury. Deep breathing is like first aid you apply when somebody have a physical injury. Deep breathing in a moment of chaos and anger will save you a whole lot of things. take a very slow, deep breath and breathe out. By the time you finish that, you continue like about 5 times, you will discover that you are calm. What are you doing? Because that moment you are hijacked, what happened to your brain is your executive brain, there is part of your brain they call it amygdala. Your amygdala overrides your executive brain. Your thought become incoherent, become disorganized, you become confused, you're sweating, you are angry, a whole lot of things begin to happen to you because your prefrontal contents have been hijacked, your executive brain have been hijacked. That's why you say, oh, I didn't mean to behave that way. I didn't mean to say this thing this way. I didn't know when I was just angry. That was why I said, that was why I behaved that way. It wasn't intentional. You have been hijacked. So first thing first, it comes with you being aware of your responses, okay? One, your physiological responses when you are talking with your partner and they becoming, let me say the conversation is not going in the way you intended it to go. So what are your physiological responses? Do you clench your fist? Do you tight your muscles? You have to be aware of all these things. Then before you can actually talk about reconnection. Connection without vulnerability, it is impossible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for throwing so much light on that topic. So, Mrs. Brenda, I would pass some questions to you before we look into the questions we got from our Google document. So, here are the questions. When one partner is willing to reconnect, but the other seems withdrawn, what's the best approach that the partner can be able to use? Please, thank you. Hello, ma'am. Are you on the call with us, Miss Brenda? Hello. Okay.
Sorry, ask your question again.
I said, when one partner is willing to reconnect, but the other seems withdrawn, what is the best approach?
Okay. One easy thing is, right, is to talk more, okay? Demand answers, all right? If it's something worth in actually, okay, if it's worth fixing, right? Talk more answers, right? Do not allow don't allow the pressure to push you further away from your partner. Okay, so the first thing you do is intentionally be patient, or like I said, have emotional safety. All right. So if the safety is not there, if you see that the person is really withdrawn, all right, you know that the person is trying to, the person is not having safety. So the first thing to do is protect the person, protect it with your response, not reject the person. Okay, is either the person is overwhelmed, the person is hot, or the person is emotionally exhausted. Okay, so all you need to do is to not to interrogate, not to judge, all right, or stay calm, avoid emotional ambiguous questions, change the entry points. Many people try to reconnect through serious talks only. You're trying to talk to the person the person is withdrawing further. Serious talks only will not work. Okay, you need to do it gently and quietly. Share light moments. Do your check-in, as I said, simple check-in questions. Reconnect through everyday activities. Okay, just going to ask, what did I do wrong? What is happening? All right. Spend time together. Now, once the person is withdrawn, is when you need to do your physical presence. You need to be present more. Speak without blame. Talk to the person without blame. Okay. You're trying to now, what you are trying to do to bring that person out of being withdrawn is your goal is to invite the person. You're inviting the person. You're not speaking with blame. You're not going to accuse the person. Okay. You're going to avoid saying, you've changed, you don't care anymore. No, because once you blame the person, that draw and then it's going to finally be emotional shutdown. Okay, so regulate your emotions first. When one partner withdraws, the other person becomes you. Instead of you to be so anxious and reactive and clingy, no, you're doing it without fear. You're doing it present. You're doing it physically. Okay, you're trying to show kindness more because you're trying to rebuild it through not just words now, through action. Like I said, you have to be physical, be consistent, be appreciative, be have some sort of emotional maturity. Okay, do more acts. Do small acts. If you've been coming back late from work before, try to come early, or let the person know that, oh, I'm so sorry today. I wanted to come early, but either there's traffic at home. Be truthful, whatever you're trying to tell the person to bring the person back. Okay, and so you need to respect the person's space too. Don't just disappear. Okay, because it's somebody you want. You're not, oh, he's withdrawn. Okay, everybody day their day. No. All right. You respect their space, but you try to find balance. You're not trying to suffocate them. You do not to. If it's something you want, do not you not getting it. But if you're like, okay, let's just be here. I'm seeing you. Do you understand? Try to understand the roots of why the person is withdrawing. Sometimes there's a story behind it. It could be as a result of unresolved conflicts. Okay, it could be maybe you not appreciating the person's feelings. It could be emotional burnout. So whatever it is, it could be work, it could be finance, it could be anything. Internal struggles. It might not even have anything to do with you. Internal struggles. So all you need to do is to be understanding. All right. I hope this helps.
Thank you, ma'am. Then here's the last question from me.
All right.
You talked about small daily habits.
Okay.
So which one habit can couples start today that can reconnect them?
Okay. See, just the example I gave of me and my husband. Take walks. All right. Be physically present with yourself. Okay. Do small things, small gestures. All right. Not, you don't have to, like I said, buy big money bouquet. No. There was once my husband got me a gift. It was quite pricey, but I did not like the gift. I felt he shouldn't have spent that much in getting me that gift. All right. It's something that will get a lot of persons excited, but I felt at that moment that was not what I wanted. You know, so sometimes it's not about you spending much money, just being there for yourself. What does your partner like most? What does he like to eat? Getting that. Send him text messages or send that text messages. Oh, I love you. Sometimes when I do that with my husband, I'll be like, my wife, what do you want? Because anytime you tell me that, it's like virtually me. You understand? Look for that spark that used to be there when you people started your relationship. All right. And you found that, see, things will start working better because you're there physically, you're there emotionally, you're showing that you care. All right.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There are a lot of questions from our previous our Google Sheet that people answered. So I want to drop some of them so we can discuss. I believe most of them are on the call with us, so we can be able to talk about them so they can get more light about that topic. So one of the topics that somebody showed light on is what's the difference between romance and love. So I would love one of our speakers to throw more light about that so that person can be able to get a clear message. Thank you. Is anybody with me?
Let me just take that. I can hear you.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, let me take that. So romance, right? Romance is feeling plus expression. Okay, you're emotionally excited, you know, You have your gestures showing, you're showing affection. You know, it looks like dates, you going out on dates, giving surprises, telling sweet nonsense, physical attraction, butterflies, emotional highs. Okay, it creates sparks, it is passion. All right, it creates emotional closeness. Okay, now love is a choice. Love is a choice plus commitment. Okay, so love doesn't just stand on its own. Romance is you doing all those butterflies and whatever makes you happy. Now, love is a serious business. Okay, it's a choice that has commitment attached. Love is deeper and more stable. Okay, love is when there is no money, the person doesn't have a job, you're staying true. Love is when the person is sick, you're staying true. You're showing patience. You're staying through hard seasons. Okay, you're choosing kindness even when you're upset. You're supporting growth even when the person feels very lazy. Okay, you're forgiving and you're rebuilding. Love remains. Okay, love is what remains when romance feels low, in simple terms. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, can I add something to it, please? Hello?
I can hear you. It's like our moderator is off. The network is quite poor this way.
Okay, let me add something to what you said. There could be romance without love, and there can be love without romance. Because people engage in romance doesn't mean that they love themselves or they're in love with each other. But you can't love somebody without romance. Then I will give you an instance. A man could meet a lady, for instance. They have a very wonderful romance. All they talk about was their body, they feast on their body, the time they have together, and there is not any kind of commitment on both parts or one part. What attracted them was just the body. They have that romance, which was very wonderful, and no commitment. Let me use that word. No plan for the future. Romance is always, let me use the word, have a price tag attached to it. Okay, sorry. Romance have a price tag attached to it because people who are physically attracted to each other, but there is no emotional connection, there is no psychological attunement, they just based on what they have on the physical outwards, which does not stand in the test of love. Love is not a feeling, okay? Love is an act that expresses itself in different forms. Love is patient, love is kind, love is bearing. Which other one again? Love is about commitment, about pleasing the other partner, making the other partner happy. But romance on itself is about how to pleasure ourselves. That's all. So that is the difference between romance and love. There cannot be love without romance, but there can be romance without love.
Sir, for that insightful topic. Thank you. So here is another question somebody asked. What do you do when you are in a loveless marriage and your partner constantly tells you to move on, that he has moved on already all the time?
Please come again. I didn't hear you.
Somebody dropped a question. What do you do when you are in a loveless marriage and your partner constantly tells you to move on, that he has moved on already all the time?
You moved on. You can't force yourself on somebody who doesn't value or respect or appreciate your commitment to the person. Love works best when both partners put effort to make the love work. When it becomes one way thing, you cannot force somebody to love you. Like Brother said, love is a choice, and we choose who we want to love. Whether the consequences thereafter is not left for them. So if somebody doesn't choose you, choose yourself over the person. Leave the relationship. If somebody doesn't love you, somebody else will certainly love you somewhere else. And somebody who love you and appreciate you is somewhere. So leave that relationship. Don't force it. Don't beg to be loved, because don't allow somebody to love you because of pity, which is even more dangerous than you be in a not be in a relationship at all. So my advice is leave. Develop yourself, grow yourself, become a better version of you. So that's all.
Thank you so much, sir. Then here is another topic. How do you handle lack of proper communication? So somebody dropped a question about how do you handle lack of proper communication. So please, we would love that the speakers show more light on the topic for us.
Okay, let me take that one quickly. All right. So handling lack of proper communication in a relationship requires intentional emotional maturity and structure. Not just talking more, but talking better and safer. Okay, so first, you need to understand what poor communication really means. Okay, it can be difficult, having difficult conversations at all times, shutting yourself down emotionally, reacting defensively at all times. Okay, not listening fully. All right, so stop communicating only during conflicts. All right. The issue is not usually for you to be silent. It's not the silence alone. It's disconnection. All right. There's an emotional disconnection underneath it. So you need to stop communicating communicating only during conflicts. All right. Many people usually talk, or many couples talk seriously only when something goes wrong. You need to find ways to create regular calm conversations. Okay. Check in before problem piles up. If you sense it, speak up, check it. Okay. Communication should not only be a problem solving tool, it should be a connection habit. All right. So use save conversation starters. All right. I hope that helped. So okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
let me just say this as a what's it called? A conclusion on that. Okay. Communication usually, improves when both partners you move from defending, okay, always trying to defend, to understanding yourself, to reacting, to listening, to blaming, to expressing needs. Okay. So the first step is for you to be honest, have honest statements with yourself. If you don't want something, you speak up instead of piling it up. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
let me
you
quickly
so
add to
much.
it. Let
Okay,
me
sir.
quickly add some. Okay. Now, let's say you want to communicate with your partner. Your first statement is, we need to talk. That we need to talk send a very huge signals of defense, because the
Yeah.
person perceives, oh, I'm in trouble. Okay, so how am I going to defend myself? Then the second thing you should look at is, oh, and you don't we want to talk. I know you don't care about me. You don't care about how I feel. Your partner will certainly put up a defense. That is not communication. That's an accusation. Okay, this is how people open up a communication. And when it doesn't work out, they say, how will I make the person open up communication? You have to, first of all, your first opening line must be to appeal to this person to come into communication table. Let's talk. It's not an accusation. When you accuse somebody, the person have the right to defend, to clarify what he thinks about it. But when you think, oh, I know this is not about how will I put it? There is something actually I want us to talk about. I don't know if you are ready, if you can talk about it now, or should I give you time so that we can actually have this conversation? This is not about blame game. It's about just actually how I feel. My feeling might be right, it might be wrong, but I just want you to hear me out. If I'm wrong, fine. If I'm right, we iron it out. On that note, the person have dropped his or her guard to listen. To listen to connect, not listen to respond. But when the first line of conversation starts with an accusation, the other party will defend his or herself. It's normal. It's human nature.
Thank you so much, sir. Tonight we have learned that when love feels absent, it doesn't always mean it goes away. Sometimes it means attention, healing, or intentional reconnection. So the floor is open for other participants to contribute. So if you have something to say, you can unmute your mic and make your contribution. Thank you.
Okay, I have something to say, more like a question. Good evening, everyone. Like everything I've heard here today has been an eye-opener, okay, for me. Okay, so I'll just ask my question. Now, what if you have a partner that is always defensive and it's not your fault, okay, probably from unhealed trauma or anything at all, but it's definitely not you, and then you are a communicator where you'd like to communicate your feelings, okay, like when you tell the person, oh, I feel this and this is what is happening, I feel like we should sit and talk about this, and then the person always cut you short. Like the moment you start making your statement, I feel like this is how I'm feeling, and then the person cuts you short and justify their actions or justify whatever feeling you're trying to let them understand that you're feeling. Okay. Now, would you say this other person is wrong working out, seeing that this person does not acknowledge their feeling or does not want to acknowledge their feeling? Because in every conversation, this other communicator is always wrong in the eyes of the person. So is it justifiable for the person to be like, oh, these are red flags? Because the person also once said, oh, you talk too much. Always you want to communicate. Always you want to communicate. Because he is not a communicator. So what do you suggest, or what do you say is the ideal step for the communicator? I don't know if this question is understood.
Yes, it is understood. Okay,
understood. Okay, you answer, Brenda.
All right, sir, let me go on. That's very interesting. Okay. Usually when you're dealing with a partner who is constantly defensive, can be very exhausting and draining. Nobody wants it, especially when you're genuinely trying to fix things, not attack them. So the person being defensive is not about you. That's one thing I want us all to understand. It's not about you. It's got, most of the time, it's got nothing to do with you. It's usually a shield that the person is trying to put up. Okay. Sometimes guilt, just like Blessing said, it could be guilt, it could be trauma. Just like she mentioned, it could be trauma, it could be fear of being blamed, it could be shame. It could be the person feeling inferior, feeling inadequate. Okay. It could be unresolved conflicts that have passed, but that doesn't make it easy for the conversation, or what was the name she called it, the person that loves to talk and deal with things, right? Doesn't make it easy for that person. Okay, so is a few easy ways to handle that person or keep things in a grounded way, right? So the first one is stop entering conversations like a confrontation. I'm sure from the beginning of this webinar, from what Sir said and from what I said as well, we've always said, not to enter conversations like you're confronting the person, because imagine if this person is always on the defensive, all right? And so if you enter like that, it's going to, all hell is going to be let loose. Okay, so when you are calm, your defensive partner may hear your criticism. Okay, when you are calm, not when you're trying to You're trying to be defensive in your own way, okay? So you shift your entry points, all right? We need to talk about what you did. If that does not work, that doesn't most of the time work, just like what Sir said. I hate hearing the word, we need to talk. Even me personally, Brenda, I don't like it. Once I hear that, I'm like, hey, something serious is going to happen. So when you say, we need to talk about what you did, remember the person is a defensive person. So you're going to let the person's antennas all stand up and ready to fight. Okay? Instead, you should say, I want us to understand each other better. See, I'm not here to fight. I just want us to feel closer. This is about us, not you alone. Okay? You are lowering the threat. You're lowering the threat level first by doing it that way. Okay? You use feelings, not accusation. Express how you feel, because see, defensive people always act wrongly to blame language. So once you're always trying to accuse them of something, okay, you say, see, I will advise you not to always say, you always do this, you never listen, this is your fault. Hey, don't do that. All right. Instead, you use your feelings. Okay, you say, I feel unheard when I'm cut off. Can you please sit down? Let's talk. I feel alone when we can't talk calmly. It feels like I'm the only person in this relationship. I miss feeling safe sharing with you. Words like this, feelings invite empathy, okay? But when you're trying to use accusations on a defensive person, you invite defense, okay? You're inviting the person to defend himself. So you're going to see everywhere scatter, all right? So instead, you use feelings, not accusation, because feelings make you empathetic, right? It will make the person feel like, okay, this one that she's like this, even though I'm so angry, all right? And then you're not going to compete with their justification, because they always have things to justify. They have reasons to justify all their defenses, okay? So when someone starts explaining or defending or arguing with every point that you make, right? The conversation becomes a courtroom. It's like judge, jury, and defender. So instead, you pause. Do not debate. Instead of debating, you pause and be calm. With people like that, see, calmness works like magic. Make them feel like you understand them. I'm not trying to prove you wrong. Okay, no, seriously, that's what that's not what I'm trying to do. I just want you to understand how it affects me. Keep bringing it back to emotional impact. All right? Not who is right or who is wrong. Am I still being heard? Sorry, I just got cut off. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I'm
Yes,
just going to
we
say the
can hear
last
you, ma'am.
point. Okay. So I was saying that what was I saying? So once you instead of debating, you're acting calm, you're letting the person understand how whatever situations that is going on or whatever is doing affects you, okay? You keep bringing it back to your emotional impact, how it affects you, not who is right. Okay, so you address the pattern that the person uses, not the issue. Are we still on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay, cool. Yes. So address the pattern, not the issue. The real problem is not only that it happened, it is the inability to talk about it. All right, the inability for you to say the way you feel. Okay. All right. So you shift the focus from the event to the communication barrier that is happening. Set communication boundaries. You are allowed to ask respectful dialogue. With people like that, you have to be respectful. All right. You have to let them know that most of the time they are in charge, even though you know what you are trying to achieve. Okay. So you're looking at the goal. So play the fool, be calm about it, show your emotions, show that you're empathetic, you understand this person. Okay. Let's continue. You're not cutting the person off. You pause. Once you see that the emotions are too much, you let the person know, let's continue when we can both listen. Okay. I see that your emotions are all over the place. And again, another thing is, don't over explain yourself. All right. When someone is defensive and you're trying to explain yourself, it will make the person to be more defensive more. Okay, so just be clear, be brief, and be calm. Let me state your feelings like that, and I think that should be fine. Let me leave it here.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, Mr. Alex, and thank you so much, Mrs. Brenda. On behalf of Safe Heavens Positivity
Okay,
Initiative, thank
sorry.
you to our speakers and thank you to every ma'am.
I think Mr.
Yes.
Alex had something to say or to add, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Alex has something to add.
Actually, I want to use
Sorry.
me as an example. Okay. The question you ask actually perfectly describe who I was. I'm very defensive, logically defensive. There is nothing you will throw at me that I can't tell you or sometimes make you look stupid. Okay? Make you look stupid because I have grown to be that kind of a person. And it affected my relationship, particularly my marriage. Whenever my wife wants to talk, in fact, I have every point ready, okay? I will lay them after the altar and everything. So by the time we finish, I feel, yes, I told you I'm right, you are wrong. And where does that stem from? Okay, I perceived that she tried to talk to me is an act of control. She want to control me, so I have to defend myself. Was she actually trying to control me? No, it was my perception. But she tried to control me. Whenever she says something, she tried. Then where does that spring from? Where I grew up from, I saw my grandmother control everybody to everybody's detriment. So I hate control. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to tell me what to do. Whatever I want to do, I know what to do. I'm an adult. So I came up with that mentality. So in the midst of friends, in the midst of family people, in the midst of, if you go to my family, they will tell you, you can't tell Alex what to do. He do whatever he wants to do. That's what he wants to do. That is how I grew up because that was my safe space. When you are not telling me what to do, we are not telling me try to, not in control, because for me, interpretation is control, not in control per se. So I put up a very huge defense to defend myself. So that what another thing I fear was, if I'm not vulnerable to you, you can't control me. So my defense is to tell you I'm not vulnerable, so you can't control me. And that was actually what, in my first year of marriage, or 2 years of marriage, that began to build a wall around me and my wife until I come to the point of realization. Also, she come to the point of realization. So she began to reframe her approach. Then I begin to relax my guard, begin to understand that my wife is not the problem here. I am. Okay? Can I lose my guard? Can I drop my guard? Can I drop my defense and actually be able to connect with this person that is trying to connect with me? Okay. I think the most important thing actually is when you see this person consistently resisting the conversation, don't take it is about you. It's not you that is trying to open up the conversation most often time. It's about them. What are they defending? What are their fears? What are they afraid of? Why can't they be vulnerable for them to have a conversation? This, when you begin to profile them, how you will approach them. If you become easier, I'm coming, I'm busy. Hey, what do you doing? I'm talking. Hey, what are you doing? Yeah, take water, go and drink. Okay, I'm coming. Sorry that. So you begin to understand where this person is coming from, their fear. Anybody that is defensive, it's not out of the person is very intelligent. No, it is bring out of fear, the fear of not being vulnerable. Because people they have been vulnerable, we took advantage of them. They controlled them. They took everything away from them. So now they are not ready to go that path. Like I said from the beginning, it is not a conscious decision. It is just their nervous system just reacting to the present situation from their past. That's what they call the echo from the past. Is playing out in the present. So you have to profile why are they running from conversation? Why are they not being vulnerable? What is their fear? What is the genesis of all these things? If you can find these things, in fact, by the time you break through, you will discover this person is the most loving and the most connected person you will ever have.
Oh wow, thank you so much. I really learned. Okay, I learned a lot, and trust me, I've had 2 or 3 things that would work very well from this conversation. So thank you so much. And we've spent 10 minutes out of our time. We've always wanted to keep a 2-hour program in all our events. But I want to sincerely say thank you to you, Mr. Alex, and also Mrs. Brenda. I knew that when I slid into your DMs, you guys will be wondering, why is this lady inside my DM? Till I finally told you that I needed you guys to be here. And trust me, it's actually the best decision, okay, to bring both of you here today. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. I learned. I believe others too learned, and they have their take homes from every conversation here. Thank you so much. We don't want to waste much of our time anymore, so we'll be ending this event here. For everyone that joined, every member, every new persons that joined in, thank you so much, and God bless you all. And we wish you all a loving and happy Valentine with your spouse, your fiance, your boyfriend, girlfriend, and everyone, your family member, including yourself, okay? Because some of us will be spending it with ourselves, you know? But it's all right. So, do we have any last word, Mr. Alex, Mrs. Brenda, that we can share before we call it a night?
Okay, let me go first so that I'll go and tell to my daughter. She have been on my neck since. Okay. What I will say to everybody is life is a journey, okay? Connection is possible. The most important connection we should have is the one we have with ourselves. If we can't connect with ourselves, we can't connect with other people. If we don't fix our foundation, we can't fix the present moment. Like they say, time heals the pain. It's not true. Time does not heal any pain. Any pain you don't intentionally work on will actually be the one that will sabotage your relationship, sabotage your future. So many of the things we have learned from this conversation, and even more, let's be more intentional about who we are, where we have come from. Let's find out about what they call, like what you said just like this, what they call avoidant attachment, like the person you just described, who avoid, is called avoidant attachment. So let's read more about avoidance attachment style, and the childhood experiences. We begin to understand, it begin to fit into why people run away from connection and why people don't want to have some kind of meaningful conversation and all the rest of it. So every one of us, please, let's enjoy our Valentine tomorrow and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate. So we'll close the event here now. Thank you. On behalf of
Mrs.
Safe
Brenda,
Haven Positivity Initiative, thank you to our speakers and thank you to every single person.
Does she have any last word,
continue?
Mrs. Brenda?
I wanted to, but it's ended. It's fine. We can call it a day.
No, you can add your last word because we are still live.
Okay. So what I want us to leave here with today is this: that love does not always disappear. Sometimes it becomes buried under stress, silence, routines, and unmet needs. And connection does not return by accident, it returns by intention. All right. So we must learn to speak gently, to listen without defense, to show up even when we feel it's hard, to choose each other again and again. But we must also remember this truth, all right? That you cannot rebuild relationships alone. We can't do it. You can't do it alone. It's not a one-man thing. You can invite, nurture, and try, but both hearts must be willing. Okay, both hearts must be willing. That person that the partner was already telling her, you can move on if you want. you can see that she's the only one willing. The other person is not. Okay. So as you leave here today, ask yourself, where have I gone quiet? Where can I reach out? Where do I need healing? What does healthy love look like for me now? Because when love still has sense, it may not be gone. It may simply be waiting for honesty, courage, and care to bring it back to life. And if it cannot be rebuilt, then maybe you still have, if it cannot be rebuilt, maybe you still have the strength to choose peace, growth, and self-worth. So if it can't be rebuilt, choose your peace, choose your personal growth, choose your self-worth. And I wish you a happy Valentine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello?
Yeah, success. We can call it a night. I believe we've had a lot. You've learned a lot.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot. Okay.
My
Deborah Chinwe, thank you for being here today too. Thank you so much. I hope you learned a lot.
Yeah, I did. My notebook is full.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Thank you for joining.
So we'll call today. We've come to the end of the webinar. So if this conversation resonates with you, you can stay connected with us through our website or social media platform. Continue the conversation. Growth doesn't end here. And remember, connection is not accidental. It is built, it is nurtured, and it can be rebuilt. So thank you for being here. Have a wonderful evening. So bye, everybody. Enjoy tomorrow. Spread love, share love tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.